We're looking at a couple of hyperbolas here, and they're very, very similar. They're both centered at the origin, and they have equations something along the lines of x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. These hyperbolae also have asymptotes that have equation y equals plus or minus b over ax. So what we'll do when we start with the first example is we'll put in the asymptotes and then we'll draw the hyperbola. The asymptotes here, considering this is x squared on a squared, that would be 4 squared, minus y squared over b squared, that would be 3 squared equals 1. That means the equations of my asymptotes for this one, which we'll do in blue, will be y equals plus or minus 3/4 x. So we'll draw the asymptote in. And we'll label the equation. So this one's 3/4 x and this one's negative 3/4 x. And then for this case, when the x term comes before the y, the x is positive, the y term is negative. That means my hyperbola is to the left and to the right of the asymptotes, which means it's going to look something like this. So that's one of them, and the other side will look something like that. And so that's my hyperbola here with this format. On the other side, you can see, and we'll do this one in green, you can see I have my y term first. Everything else is the same. It's still y squared over 3 squared. It's still x squared over 4 squared. Everything is the same except for the order. That means my asymptotes are going to be exactly the same. So they're still going to be here and here. They're still going to have the same equations as these. And of course, we should be writing them in. The only difference is that rather than have the hyperbola to the side, the hyperbola is above and below. We're going to have a hyperbola that looks something like this and here. Now, of course, no graph is complete without our intercepts. For the blue graph, our intercepts will be our x-intercepts, and so therefore y equals 0. So here, my x-intercept will be where y equals 0, so my equation will be x squared over 16 equals 1. Therefore, x equals 16, and so therefore x will be plus or minus 4, which means I'll have this intercept at 4 and 0, and an intercept here at negative 4 and 0. For here, I'm dealing with y-intercepts. So, for when I'm doing that, remember, I allow x to equal 0. And therefore, y squared over 9 equals 1, and therefore y equals positive or negative 3. So this intercept here is going to be at 0 and 3, and this one's going to be at 0 and negative 3. And so now we've drawn two hyperbolas. They're very similar and the equations are really similar. What we've really noted is the difference between the placement of the hyperbola and how that relates to the equation. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe or like. Thanks.